Eagles, Eagles! The 2025 schedule is here, guys. And Eagles fans, I'm not going to blow smoke. It's a very challenging schedule, man, with a lot of big games. Chiefs in week 2. We got the Rams and the Buccaneers 3 and 4. Broncos in week 5. Then we got 2 really tough games in the middle of the year with the Packers and the Lions in week 10 and 11. And then we take on the Buffalo Bills in week 17 on the road, right? Okay. I'm going to go through each and every one of these games and go through my predictions on every one of these games and give you my Philadelphia Eagles record prediction for 2025. They're playing a Super Bowl schedule, guys. There's no other way around it. Okay, week 1, we're taking on the Dallas Cowboys at home. I think that's a W. The Eagles owned the Cowboys last year. They scored over 70 points in those 2 games. I think that continues. They get a W in week 1. I think that success continues into week 2. The Philadelphia Eagles absolutely dominated the Chiefs, right? And the Chiefs' #1 draft pick late in the first round, Jonathan Simmons from Ohio State. I don't know if he's going to be ready to even play in that game. So this roster doesn't look a lot different than it did last year. I think the Eagles dominate that game as well and get a big W. And then the Rams in week 3 at home. So the Rams got to travel across the country to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And over the years, I've been to a bunch of the games when they were playing out in LA. The Eagles really play very well against the Rams. I think that continues. They get another W in week 3. Now, here comes the first loss of the year for me on the road versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? The Eagles, for whatever reason, struggle against the Buccaneers. They have over the last few years. And I do think if there's going to be a spot where they're going to lose in the first 5 or 6 weeks, it's probably going to be against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in my opinion. So I'm going to go first loss of the year on the road, take it on Tampa Bay. It's very hard to win on the road in the NFL. Then another home game. One of the games I'm looking forward to the most this year is week 5 versus the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix and company, a very talented team. They drafted very well. Also, I'm a big fan of the Denver Broncos. I think this defense with Pat Surtain, and they brought in Jody Barron, they look really, really, really good. So I think this is going to be a close game, but I think the Eagles are going to barely win this game, like a 27-24, 24-23 type of game. Close game, but the Eagles get the W. So they're going to open up the year 4-1. Then we take on the Giants in week 6. The Giants are one of the most improved teams, in my opinion, in the entire NFC. That defense with Brian Burns and Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, their defense, the front 7 is very, very talented. Dexter Lawrence, really, really good team. But I do think the Eagles are just a lot better than the Giants this year. I'm not a big believer in Russell Wilson. By week 6, who knows who will be the quarterback on that team? We never know. And then in week 7, back-to-back road games, right? So, back-to-back games on the road. Giants is going to be a tough game. Then they got to go to Minnesota, who still has one of the better rosters in the NFL. There comes another loss for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they lose that game to the Vikings on the road after playing back-to-back road games. Then the Eagles go back home, take on the Giants again, beat them, and then in week 9 they have a bye. We're going to move on to week 10. 5 really tough games in a row. Packers, Lions, Cowboys on the road, and then Bears at home, and then back across the country to LA to take on the Chargers. That's a tough stretch. I think they lose that game to the Packers on the road. The Packers defense is a lot better. Edge Cooper there. They got Matthew Golden to be a #1 wide receiver in the draft. I really, really like what the Packers are doing. Can Jordan Love take the next step? We're going to find out this year. I do like Josh Jacobs as well, the running back there for the Packers. I think this defense is improving. We'll have to see if Jair Alexander is going to be in Green Bay or not. We'll have to see. And then another tough game, Sunday Night Football, right? Coming in on a short week, having to take on the Lions. I don't love that spot. But remember, the Lions are playing in Philadelphia, right? So that's a huge deal because you got to remember the Lions and Jared Goff play a lot better at home in the Dome, but they're going to be on the road, outside in the elements in the middle of November. It's going to be a little bit cooler. So I like the Eagles in that spot to get a W. And then the Eagles play the Cowboys in Week 12. I think the Cowboys are just not very good. I don't think they have a lot of depth either, right? They're a couple injuries away from, winning 6 or 7 games, in my opinion, right? Very young, inexperienced offensive line. They're going to struggle against the Eagles defense, But the Eagles' front seven is so exceptionally talented that I think this offensive line struggles, whereas the Eagles in both of these meetings, and they lose again. Like, they're going to lose both these games again, the Cowboys are, right? The Eagles are going to sweep again, in my opinion. Then we move on to the Bears on a Friday night game, right? So the Eagles are definitely, they're playing Sunday Night Football, and then they got to go on another short week. A lot of short weeks in here, man. So if they lose one of these games surprisingly to the Cowboys or the Bears or the Chargers in Week 14, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think Caleb Williams is really going to struggle against this Eagles defensive line. I'm going to go Eagles get a W there in Week 13. And then the Chargers in Week 14. I'm going to this game December 8th here in Los Angeles. They're on the road, Monday Night Football. Let's go, Bird Gang. They get a W here. Then they play the Raiders in Vegas. No, actually, this is at home. I lied. This game is in Philadelphia. A Raiders, a team that's used to playing in the Dome, got to go play in the elements in December. It's going to be cold as shit there. I love the Eagles in that spot. And then I'm going Eagles are going to get back-to-back losses the next 2 weeks, guys. We got the Washington Commanders on the road. Then we have the Buffalo Bills on the road. I think the Eagles lose both of those games late in the season, right? Remember, the bye is early, coming in at Week 9 in the middle of the season, right? So they got a tough stretch of short week games. Monday Night Football Week 10, Sunday Night Football Week 11, then the Black Friday game on Week 13 against the Bears. That's a tough stretch, man. And then you got to come down the home stretch versus some really good teams in the Chargers, the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Bills. They're going to lose both of those games. And then the Eagles finish the season in Week 18 at home versus the Commanders with a big win there, guys. So my record prediction from the J All Day NFL show, diehard Birds fan, we're going to go 12-5. I think that's a reasonable record for a Super Bowl team, right? The schedule makers did the Eagles no favors. They have, I think, the 4th hardest schedule in the entire NFL this year. And, they earned it with that Super Bowl victory, right? They play a lot of playoff-worthy teams, the Bills, the Commanders, the Chargers. I think the Bears are going to be in the mix for a playoff spot. The Packers, the Lions, playoff teams. The Vikings, a playoff team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going to probably win the NFC South again, another playoff team. The Broncos, I think, are another playoff team. Chiefs, playoff team. A lot of really good, talented teams. And I think the Rams, that's their division to lose. I think it's going to be between the Rams and the Arizona Cardinals in the West, right? So there it is, guys. I'm going 12-5 for the Philadelphia Eagles. We start the season off with 4 out of the first 5 games getting wins against the Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, and Broncos, losing to Tampa Bay. Then we go win, loss, win, Giants, loss to the Vikings on the road, and then a win against the Giants. And then we have a loss, Green Bay, in Green Bay. Then we go on a nice little winning streak here, guys. Tough stretch, though. Lions, Cowboys, Bears, Chargers, Raiders, and then 2 losses to the Commanders and the Bills on the road. I think they're going to be pretty tired and gassed coming out of that, murderer's row stretch. And then finishing off the season in Week 18 with a lot of playoff implications and maybe the division on the line in Week 18 versus the Commanders. They get a huge win there, guys. All right, don't forget, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, Eagles fans, NFL fans. I'm going to be here making predictions all year long. We crushed our predictions last year, 110-39 the last 9 weeks of the season. No one's better than the J All Day NFL show at making picks for the NFL season. I can't wait, guys. Thank you so much. Peace.